Good night. This is the Barbara Walker Show. Tonight my guest is Mr. Colando Stokes, the publisher of a monthly newsletter called the Stokes Report. Welcome, Colando.
Barbara, the same to you and your audience.
Colando, my producers have informed me that a new November 1, 2010 issue reveals startling information that is very important to the future of working-class Americans. Why don't you explain to us about the article?
Sure thing. In the November newsletter I give a breakdown of information that I uncovered both nationally and abroad. This data does a comparison of unionism within all the industrialized nations. It monitors both the increase and decrease of union density. The data reveals a trend that shows unionism in the public sector at a decline, but it also shows that the numbers in the private sector are much more dismal with regard to the decline in union membership and representation. What's even more alarming is that since 2001 the data showing the decline in union density ratios is no longer being provided. I consider this action to be covert no more than an attempt to cover up the assault being waged on unionism. Information on the union density ratios can be found in a book from the Industrial Relations Research Association series called Going Public: The Role of Labor Management Relations in Delivering Quality Government Services, edited by Jonathan Brock and David B. Lipsky.
Colando, the implications that a clandestine attempt to withhold data concerning the financial well-being of working-class citizens is both appalling and may very well be unconstitutional, because it is a well-known fact that unions provide good benefits for their members as well as job security. Please tell us who is behind this?
The ones behind the information blackout is the government in conjunction with the private corporations. My research into this issue was inspired a couple of weeks ago when I noticed I could not turn on a news program without there being something negative said about unions. If you listen to the reports, they imply that unions are responsible for all of society's woes. It won't be long before unions are blamed for the demise of the dinosaurs. But on a more serious note, this assault on the working class is so prevalent that the propaganda has made it to the big screen. Yes, the anti-union forces have gone as far as to make a movie to spread their disdain for unionism. I had the privilege of viewing the movie Waiting for Superman. As I watched it, I found myself astonished at the biased perspective presented in the storyline and plot. It was much more about blame as opposed to solution-oriented. Much like the news reports, the movie concentrated its frustration of the failure of the U.S. education system on the poor-performing teachers, and went further by blaming unions for protecting these so-called bad teachers, just like the MTA chairman blames all the problems of the MTA and any fare increases on the transit unions. I find this very disingenuous, because remedies have been in place for issues like this to be resolved without going through all these painstaking measures. It is called collective bargaining. Yes, all of these issues can be easily remedied, but the anti-union forces have decided to wage a public campaign with no other reason than to pressure unions to submit to their plans, rather than through the proper channels of negotiation.
It is to my understanding that Waiting for Superman is not the only movie you find relevant to this discussion.
You are right. Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps was much more refreshing, as it gave an inadvertently honest account of the surreal codependent relationship between the government and private corporations that abandon their so-called capitalistic principles, exchanging them for a more socialistic one, by putting the tab on the taxpayer, which also includes union members, by using public money to bail out several corporations in various industries in an attempt to prevent them from failing. This is a paradox, because for centuries corporations have lobbied against methods that involved a collective, or better yet united, approach to solving issues, and have chastised unions for using similar methods with regard to creating policy for their membership.
Colando, are you concerned what Uncle Sam and the private corporations will try to do to you because you are revealing their secrets?
I'm not at all concerned about any future attacks from them, because when it comes to taking a stand for working class people, I'm more than willing to put everything on the line for those who only seek to live the American dream of home ownership while putting food on their tables as they try to provide an education for their children. Besides, if they attempt to silence me, they will find that I'm a formidable adversary who can put up a very Good fight when it comes to fending off bullies.
I am impressed with your work with trying to bring to light the attacks being waged on our fellow citizens, and I pledge to you that I will do everything in my power to help you.
Thanks, Barbara. As more people like yourself become engaged with this issue, collectively we will be able to mount an effective offensive and prevent anyone from trying to deny citizens their right to live the American dream.
What's the best way for my viewers to stay informed with these issues?
As was mentioned at the top of your show, I have a monthly newsletter called the Stokes Report, which is a serious source of information pertaining to union issues as well as other information.
Colando, thank you for this insightful interview and I wish you all the best.
The same to you and your audience. I would be remiss if I did not mention those who helped me with my report. The Industrial Relations Research Association series book, Going Public: The Role of Labor, Management Relations in Delivering Government Services. Edited by Jonathan Brock and David B. Lipsky. Labor Relations in the Public Sector 4th edition by Richard Carney, the movie industry and several online sources as well as my fellow student researchers at ESC.
Good night to my guest and to you audience for your continued support.